So here we are logged into our Wave account, and the first thing you're going to notice if you're on the new interface is that the report at the top is now the cash flow report. So this just gives you a overview of how much money you've brought in and how much money has gone out. This is a really cool report. We'll dive into this in a later video that talks specifically about reporting in Wave. But this video is about giving you an overview of the functionality. The next report down below is going to be the profit and loss. Again, these are visual reports. The actual number reports are over here in the reports section. But this is good to get to see these two things at a quick glance. You can scroll down and see numbers and charts, and it's just really great for us visual people who get overwhelmed maybe by just a report with numbers on it. Okay, so as we remember, if you've watched any Wave videos before or you've worked in Wave, the majority of your work happens here in the transactions area. So we go to the accounting menu and transactions. Now this looks very different from the old version of Wave. And if you have not watched my other video that compares the two, make sure to go check that video out. But here I want to show you guys how to handle these things. And what's interesting, so let's go here and we want to categorize. This is a expense. We're now going to click here and it's going to give us some options. It's going to say, is this a transfer? Is this a payment that you made? Is this a refund on an invoice? Is this a refund on income? Was this sales tax, or was this a personal expense? So it gives you all those options first. That's really handy. It used to be a lot harder to understand how to categorize some of these types of things. So now we have those right here at the top. If it's just a regular expense, then you scroll down and you'll have access to all your expense accounts. Or if you know what it was, you can start typing in what it was. So this is computer software. Now, right now, I'm just using the default categories that Wave gives you when you set up your account. I do recommend customizing those categories a little bit, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But as we're finding things, then we will choose the correct category, and it will do that. Now, what you will notice is as you start to categorize things, Wave will learn your transactions and it will start to add transactions. So anytime now that it sees something that says hello fax, it's going to know that is computer software and categorize it for me. So it's really neat that it has that artificial learning and it will do the work for you. So if I'm going to categorize some of these as sales. Okay, now this is what I'm talking about. It says, we found one other transaction like this. Do you want to review and categorize it as well? Well, yes, Wave, I do. And it'll say, hey, look, we saw a PayPal fee for the same person's name. Is that a bank service charge? And I'm going to say yes, or I can recategorize this. Now, what it's noticing is PayPal and the name of the client. I obviously know that this is not going to be changed, so I'm going to say, yeah, this is good. But maybe it will have noticed that you had a similar transaction multiple months in a row. So this is particularly good if you are trying to clean up more than a few weeks of transactions. Maybe you're trying to do your whole year in one go. If you've got all your transactions imported into Wave, then it will start to notice and auto-categorize things for you. So this is really helpful. Be mindful of that. If you want to categorize more than one thing at a time, say that you have a bunch that should all be the same category. So let's just find a few here that are uncategorized and see if we can't find a few that are the same thing. So we've got a few that are just income that haven't been categorized. So I'm going to see what else I can find. Okay, so if I want to categorize more than one at a time, I'm going to select those by checking them. And up here, it's going to tell me I have two selected. Then I'm going to click edit. I can change the category of both of these at the same time. And I can also change if there's tax on it. So removing sales tax or adding sales tax. I don't mess with sales tax that much because I'm a service-based. But then once you've changed those, you can also automatically mark them as reviewed. And that's this little green checkbox over here. So in the old Wave, there was a thing called verified. In the new Wave, it's now called reviewed. And really what this is saying that you've checked this transaction, it's gotten categorized correctly, and it matches your bank account. So once you have all of these verified, later on at the end of the month, you can do what's called a reconciliation. This makes accountants very happy. And that means that everything in your Wave matches everything on your bank statements, your credit card statements, your PayPal statements. So we'll go through that in a little bit. But you can see that categorizing things gets a lot easier and faster. You can search as you're going. You can also search for transactions now. Guys, can we just raise our hands in thank you to Wave for finally having a search feature? This has never been in Wave before, and it killed me. It was literally one of the main reasons that I would recommend other programs over Wave for certain situations, because you couldn't search and it drove us nuts. Now you can search. Hallelujah, amen. We are happy as clams now because of this search thing. You can sort newest to oldest, oldest to newest, and you can filter here by all sorts of things. You can filter by category, you can filter by status, you can filter by the kind of transaction it is, a type, or by a date range. You can clear it and you can hide it. So that's all very handy. It's nice tucked away. And you still have the option, if somehow a duplicate transaction came through, you can merge them, or you can delete things that don't belong there. But don't delete things just because you think they're not a business transaction. We'll talk about that later. But this is the transaction screen. If you need to manually add income, you can do that. And this is where it will give you the option to start to edit what is on the transaction. So you can write a description. If we're adding income, we're just going to say income. We can say what account the money went into. This is important. If you're not paying attention, it will default to cash on hand, and you'll have this weird balance in a cash on hand account that doesn't even exist. So if you put money in your checking account, make sure you do that. It's a deposit. How much did you put in? Oh, I put $100 in. And what kind of income was this? Well, let's see. I need to go down here. Here's my income accounts in this dummy account. So this was consulting income. You want to include a customer? You can include a customer. I don't have any customers in this account. Again, this is one of my demo accounts. So, but you can do that. If you need to include sales tax because you have sales tax in your business, you can add that right there. You can even split the deposit up and say if it was for different things. So if you receive checks or cash, say you're a business that receives checks from different clients or customers throughout the day, and then at the end of the day or the end of the month, you go and you make one big deposit into your bank account, but it says, it's $1,000, but it was actually $100 checks from different clients. You can break that down so you know who paid you what and all of that. That's how you do that. You can also add notes, and then you can click save. So now we've got that in there. And if you ever need to edit anything here, you can always click on it and it will bring up this same thing. It'll tell you also where it imported from, if it imported. So this is from PayPal. I pulled in a few of my PayPal transactions just so we had something to work with. Okay, so this is your transaction screens. As you scroll, if there's a lot of things, it will continue to bring down more transactions. Okay, let's talk about PayPal. Let's talk about PayPal. PayPal can really confuse people. And here I want to show you, this is a great example. We've got money that came out of our checking account and transferred into our PayPal account. Now, that is not an expense. It's not income. It's actually what we call a transfer. And it's just you moving money between accounts. So we don't want it to record on your profit and loss as income or expense. We want it to just be a transfer. When you see these things, if Wave doesn't automatically recognize it. Now let me say that if you have your PayPal account and your checking account connected to your Wave account, it is going to start recognizing these and categorizing them automatically. Similar to with if you have a checking and a savings account. So that's really awesome. It's going to save you a lot of work and a lot of time. But say it shows up like this and you need help. This is where we're going to choose that category, transfer from a bank, credit card, or loan. And then we're going to pick what it is. Now this says, hey, wait a minute, we think that there is a matching transaction. Is this it? Well, yeah, it is. So if we select that, look what happens now. It says, hey, look, we matched them and their transfers way faster than in the old Wave. So let's see. It also says, hey, we saw this is something similar. Do you want to do it? Yeah, it is. This is from the checking. Now we can mark it as reviewed and go back. So that is how you do the transfers between PayPal and checking. You pick one of them because if you have both accounts connected, which you should if you use your PayPal account for your business and you use a checking account for your business, you should have both of them connected to Wave. And when you see these things pop up that say transfer to or from, you're just going to select that and you're going to come down here and do the transfer. It's transfer from a bank, credit card, or loan. No more clicking the two, scrolling up, marking it as transferred. It's much faster. It's very nice. So here it notices the same thing. It did the same thing as transfer from the checking account to the PayPal business account, or vice versa. This is actually taking money out of the PayPal account and putting it into the business checking account. So it's really great. So that is the transaction screens. You can also add a journal transaction, which I don't recommend doing unless you have the guidance of an accountant. These are special types of transactions or entries that we have to do to maybe fix the balance on an account or make a year-end adjustment. So we don't mess around with these too much unless you know specifically what you're supposed to be doing. You can, of course, connect your bank account. You do want to do that. Wave works best when it is connected to a bank account and any PayPal account that you use. You also can upload a bank statement manually. I'll show you this because this is very helpful if you're trying to clean up a year's or month's worth of Wave. So if you're trying to crash course, do your bookkeeping for the whole year, then even when you connect your bank account, you're not going to be able to pull probably the full year of transactions. So you're going to want to go to your online banking and you're going to want to download your transactions from your bank. And if it they'll usually offer you as a CSV. They may offer you the option to download in one of these other file types, which is great because if you can get it in one of these, then it's really handy. What I often will do is get the CSV file from the bank, and then I have to format it because not every bank has a standardized format when it comes to a CSV. So I use a converter called CSV to OFX. There are a few converters that may be free online. This is one I paid for. But it is really helpful to be able to convert it from this to a file because any of these first four, Wave is not going to have any problem uploading or understanding. But anything that is a CSV, you may get an error code or you may have to view this help article to kind of format the CSV correctly. So what you would do is find it, choose which bank account. So if you're importing checking account stuff, and then you would hit upload and it would bring it in, and then you'd be able to go through and actually do everything in your transaction page. So this is really handy for those of you who were like, oh crap, I haven't done any bookkeeping for 2018. I need to get something done. This is the process. So that's that. Next, I do want to show you guys reconciliation. So this is a new feature, and it is similar to the old verify feature, but they've just updated it in a different way. So first you want to make sure that you have gone through your transactions already and everything is taken care of. Now you sort by your bank account. So we'll say, hey, it's the checking account. And it's going to tell you, well, we have transactions starting back at March, and none of this has been reconciled. And so really what you're doing when you hit start is you're just saying, what was the ending balance on what date? So if we say, oh, it was $100, click save, it's going to say, if the statement balance was 100, but in Wave, the balance was negative 100, you're off by $200. Something needs to be fixed. So it may be that you entered the statement balance wrong. And it may be that you haven't reviewed all the transactions, and it may be that something is missing in Wave or something is duplicated in Wave. So you need to have your actual bank statement in front of you. It could be the PDF on your screen, or it could be the printed out paper version, but you need to actually get your statements out, go through transactions, check everything, make sure it's clicked reviewed, and once you've done that and you enter the balance here, you want the difference to be 0, because once the difference is 0, you can click this little reconcile button. So let's just pretend, oh, I forgot to put a negative. Look at that. Now the statement balance matches the balance in Wave. There's 0 and it automatically reconciled. And it says, hey, you want to check out the transactions for that month? It'll pop it open in a new tab and show you all the transactions that you did and that match. So it's really cool. I'm going to go back here. So you want to do this for each statement through the year, and it usually goes really fast because especially if you've been importing from your bank and not manually entering a lot of stuff, it's going to go really fast. And that just gives you that secondary check and balance to make sure that all your numbers in Wave are accurate, because that is an important thing, to have accurate numbers so that you can know your numbers.